Okay, Defender TDCi, Puma, last model, 2007 to 2016. So out of all the model Defenders, this last model, 07 to 16, is probably the highest percentage of ones that are in just about pristine condition to immaculate. I don't have any like museum pieces that come through. All the ones that come in are, you know, they do get used. So this is a good example. This is the Heritage model. So one of the, well, it's sort of like the first of the limited edition ones, really, because since this model, Land Rover have seemed to keep producing these last ones. So it's just about care and maintenance. So if we have a look on this one, it only really comes in once a year. So although I do hammer that whole 10,000 Ks or 6 months, it only really does about 1,000 kilometres a year. So the thing is, you really still need to do that oil change once a year, and every second service I'll change out the air filter, and always the fuel filter. So doing the oil filter and fuel filter gets rid of any of those contaminants that does, and water, moisture that builds up inside the engine and the fuel system. You can also put I suppose a bit of fuel treatment in it. So when I say this one's not a museum piece, I think it's almost done 40,000 Ks now for 2016 or 15. It has, I think from memory, been across Australia twice. So that's 20,000 of its kilometres. And it's done some four-wheel driving. Yeah, admittedly not much. So the biggest killer on these vehicles is going to be corrosion. Corrosion and all the rubber seals and bushes drying up and cracking. So, you know, I tend to harp a bit on the whole silicone spray, but silicone spray is good because the one I use, because it's not, if it gets on rubber and plastic, you know, it's going to protect it. So all these Ford harnesses, keep that lubed. It keeps all these plugs waterproofed. At the back of the ECM, it'll stop all that corrosion build up. Earth points, it'll stop those earth points from corroding. Yeah, so I use penetrine on all your metal, you know, your bolts. So a great one is the front bumper bolts here inside the, put the torch on. Can't really see it. Inside that chassis horn, that's where you get a lot of corrosion build up. So spraying that, spray the underneath of the sump, because these Ford sumps are prone to corrosion, and it'll actually corrode all the way through. So on this one, I did the oil change and the filter change. Let's go underneath. We'll have a look. So also to stop that sort of powdery corrosion build up on the gearbox and transfer case, again, you can just give them a light spray with the silicone spray, and it just creates a coating or a barrier over everything, and it keeps, and also all the harnesses. You know, this one, so every sort of second service, I give it a good thorough going over. All that harness, the engine sump to stop it corroding. It's more preventative bits and pieces that I do on these sort of vehicles. So, I mean, the best run it gets is, I suppose, driving here, you know. Fuel lines, all these things will get all brittle and hard. So you still need, I mean, 1,000 kilometres is not much a year. I mean, it's next to nothing, but it's enough to keep all those rubber bushes nice and pliable. So most of the work on these ones is just preventative stuff. See, you've got to spray. I don't know if you're ever going to see that. Where are we? Yeah, spray the sides of the cross member because there's actually a gap. You can see that gap between the chassis and the cross member. So that gets a lot of moisture and crud in between it. I hear my phone in the background going off. It's nut. That's everyone texting. So, yeah. And obviously, you know, you've still got to use them. If you don't, things like all your brakes will seize up. You know, when people talk about barn finds, generally a barn find, there's so many things you got to refurb. Shocks will be knackered, bushes will be knackered, brakes will be seized up. You know, just get out. Good grief. Get cold. Even things like, you know, over the wheel lugs, if it focuses, stops them getting all rusty and corroded. Obviously, we've spoken about the door hinges, all the plastics, door locks. Yeah, it's had a couple little mods. We've done the ceramic exhaust, we've got rid of the rubbish Ford clutch. This is certainly up there with, you know, I'd certainly have a good group of these Defenders that are, let's face it, all Defender owners are enthusiasts. Some more than others. And generally the more than others have got more than one Defender. I always say a good Defender owner's got 2 or 3. So, yeah. Next service, I'll, because the moisture content on the brake fluid is getting up there. It's about 2%. So next service, next year, I'll do a brake fluid flush and probably a coolant flush as well. Okay. Everything else is just spray lubing stuff, you know, even little things like the antenna. I'll wipe a bit of penetrine on it because it'll get corroded and powdery and then it'll jam up. That's about it. I didn't really have much to say. I just wanted to show you one of the more pristine Defenders that come in here. It does look fantastic. And I have no idea what that phone's doing. It looks great. Still drives fantastic. At some point, it's one of those things that you've got to sort of balance of how many Ks am I doing? So they're the original tyres. You know, next year they'll be, well, 2016. If it's 15, 16, next year or the year after, they'll be 10 years old. If that was a Parenti, they'd be knackered. Absolutely knackered because the Parenti would have been sitting around for far too long, and all the nylon plies would have started to separate, which is what happens with the old Perini tyres. These eventually will start to feel it, and when you start to feel it in the imbalance and vibration, it'll be new tyres. It's one of those things people say, oh, but the tread's brand new, but you know, it's not cheap to service and maintain a car. You know, there is a degree of expense, and if you're not doing the mileage, then sooner or later, age is going to play a part in the requirement of replacing components. But hopefully the fact that I keep all those rubber bushes lubed, we do those fluids on a regular basis, then hopefully it won't suffer a lot of that sort of thing. I mean, at some point in the next few years, I guess, I'm sort of aiming around that 50,000 kilometre mark. We're possibly going to have to at least inspect those wheel bearings. You know, let's call it the 10-year mark. At that 10-year mark, because it's, you know, it's doing 1,000 kilometres a year, for God's sake, we're probably going to really need to at least have a look at the grease in the wheel bearings. There probably won't be any wear in there, but it may need some more grease. Driveline fluids, again, when I did all the clutch, we did the gearbox fluid, transfer case fluid. Might have even done the diff fluids, I don't know, I'll have to have a look. So, but fantastic looking truck. These did come in a 110 version. I've not seen one, not in a Heritage in Australia. I did watch a video of one in New Zealand, but not here. So I think that's all I've got for you. Just wanted to show you guys this and bits and pieces. Again, thanks for watching. See you later. Bye.